We've got a stormy start to our Friday, a multi-day severe weather threat heading into the weekend from the Midwest on into the Northeast.
Right, and obviously this is going to be a problem. The most expansive threats are going to be damaging wind, large hail. This is just the start of our weekend troubles. June gloom for some of you this weekend,
yes,
too.
Because in another part of the country, we're going to see rounds and rounds of storms and rain into next week. This is all going to repeat, and that means that we could have a flash flood threat for us. And by the way, it's going to be hot out there as well, not to mention, not under all that rain and clouds, but there's a lot of us that are going to be feeling that heat.
And speaking of hot, we got to keep an eye on what could be considered hot tropics. Kind of depends on where you're looking. Tropical storm Amanda, 2 areas to watch. Eastern Pacific is getting going here. Nothing yet in the Atlantic, but we want to make sure you guys review your hurricane plan before activity does increase in the Atlantic.
Yes, please do that. This is America's Morning Headquarters. I'm meteorologist Stephanie Abrams alongside meteorologist Jordan Steele and Jim Cantori.
Good morning, everybody. We've been a bit active this morning. Jim had a couple flash flood warnings from Missouri all the way down into Texas.
Yeah, it's right in the central part of the country. Yeah, right.
That's no good.
Does that not scream flash flood or what?
That screams flash flooding. Yes, 100%. That does scream flash flooding. And the system's going to be screaming to the east, giving us the threat for severe weather in the eastern lakes and the northeast as we head into tomorrow. So not only do we have a front, we have daytime heat. We haven't really touched on the heat a ton, but it is going to be hot. You're going to get some relief when you get these little boundaries to come through, but it basically takes you back to average. Then we bounce right back up. And by the way, next week, that ridge is going to stay in place from the Midwest to Northeast, and we're going to stay hot. We do get troughs coming into the west and cool us off, but we're going to basically heat is going to be the name of the game. Now, this is going to take us basically back down to average as we get the clouds, the showers, and a little bit of troughiness for us here. Not only do we have strong mid-level winds, but you've got a little low-level jet action here. We got some mid-level winds, and we even have a little upper-level action. So these winds are going to enhance some of the storms that are coming on in. So that means that you are going to see some bigger boomers out there. Notice our storms dropping southbound here as we head through Saturday morning towards the Red River Valley. That's the Ohio River Valley, Abrams. Happy Friday, everybody. The Ohio River Valley. Sheesh. Showers and storms here into Buffalo, where, by the way, we're nearly 5 inches above average on rainfall. Boston is nearly 8 inches below for the year on rainfall, so we need that rain. This will all come into New England, especially as we head into Saturday evening, some stronger storms. Notice 9 p.m., we've got a line that is racing through basically western Massachusetts here, and then it gets in overnight. So if you have a later night plan here into Boston, remember you will need some of that rain gear because it's tough when you go out, you're like, oh, everything's fine. Then all of a sudden you get all the storms good 6 hours later. How much rain are we going to get? We'll take it here into Chicago. Our drought monitor just bumped up for us. So we'll see some showers. Some of them will be heavier than others. When you look at the deep layer here of soil moisture, you're talking about 3 feet down. And we were really wet in this vicinities for March and April, but then we dried out, and that did a number. But notice how we still have decent soil moisture, Jordan, here into the eastern lakes.
Yeah, sitting about average, which is good. But
Steph, over to you.
So the system Jim was just mentioning here throughout the upper Midwest, causing the storms into the Great Lakes and then eventually in the Northeast, is right there, and it's going to move that direction. Then we focus our attention on this system and that system. We'll bring some cooler air when they initially start. When these both come kind of towards the center of the country, it'll bring our temperatures back towards about average. And then we see heat, by the way, coming back in control as we head into next week, with the exception of the West, where we keep seeing systems coming in. That was a lot of information to take in. I understand that. Let me refocus to what I'm talking about here, and you'll see this energy move there. But I really want you to focus on these two pieces of energy, especially because I'm standing in front of the other one I told you to focus on. But notice how this is coming up and that one is coming in. So these are the areas that we are going to see the unsettled weather as we head over the next couple of days. You can see that ridging here as well taking place. So tomorrow, again, a lot of information. Let me break it down a little bit smaller for you. Tomorrow, with our system coming into the northwest, we have the threat for storms into Montana and also into North Dakota, not really firing up until we head later in the day. That's when you will see the thunderstorms. Continues, by the way, on Sunday, because that system is still driving eastbound. So you'll see the moisture and that south to north flow with this as it tries to make its way east. Now, as we look down towards the southern plains with that other little piece of energy I was mentioning, that really kind of spreads out. like peanut butter and jelly, and that means that we are going to see storms even as we head into our Sunday and Monday, all the way up here into the upper Mississippi River Valley, which originates all the way into Minnesota, believe it or not, and then goes all the way down to the Gulf and into our Monday morning. It could be wet into places like Chicago, where we need the rain, also into Wisconsin, where we are super dry. Milwaukee went from the wettest April on record to the driest May on record, so we could use some of that rain. Then it tries to move east, and we will see things kind of shift a little bit next week, Jordan, with our overall weather pattern. But rainfall totals, they could be significant in some places, so watch for flooding.
All right. Well, in today's weather-wise,
well, the Atlantic is quiet right now. We don't have any hurricanes or tropical storms to speak of, but when a hurricane is heading your way, there's a storm of information out there, but not all of it is true, and knowing the difference between fact and fiction could literally save your life. Meteorologist Alex Wallace sets a record straight, breaking down the biggest hurricane myths. Let's talk about our multiple June storms as we wrap up the first week of June here. We've got this energy we've been talking about in the Midwest. That goes into the Northeast. But then we reset with this and this. And we're going to see some ridging in the east. So this is going to get pulled north. That's going to come in and kind of get pulled north a little too. Just the whole setup. This is also going to tug on that. Anyway, the story is this is going into the Northeast tomorrow for severe weather. But then we're going to focus on these two pieces of energy, giving us not only rain, but also some severe weather there into Montana, into North Dakota. Look how they kind of go north there. This is Sunday. They'll hang around into our Monday. They will bring some below average temperatures to start, and then when they get to the center of the country, they basically put us back towards average, and then we have the heat again next week for a lot of us there in the northern tier. So tomorrow, Montana, North Dakota, 94, Glendive, it's going to be a stormy one for us, but it's not just Saturday, it's into Sunday too. Notice a few of these are going to fire up. Oakdale getting hammered around dinner time, but Sunday we still have that trough coming in, and there it is. There are the impacts from it. That's all going to be moving east as we head into our Sunday. You see that south to north flow also helps bring up the moisture that we need to get the storms. And so as we head into early next week, as I mentioned, Monday even to Tuesday, you're still going to see some of this bad weather. So let's start on Sunday, because Saturday it's kind of in the south. Sunday is when it moves into our area, and you'll see the clouds, the showers, they develop, they continue as we head through the day into our Monday. It tries to move east. Finally into Tuesday, we're going to get some of that more easterly movement here, and the pattern is going to shift a little bit as we head into next week with troughiness in the west, cooler, wetter conditions, and then heat with our ridge here in the east. So we'll see some changes. The European shows that heaviest rain anywhere from Illinois back towards really Missouri getting in. We're going to show you all that heavy rain. The GFS has some heavier stuff into southern Missouri, but Missouri's been getting a lot of rain over the last week. Over the last 7 days, we have seen very heavy showers. So you also have to worry about the possibility of flooding with rain on top of rain type of a thing. Milwaukee, we need it. Wettest April on record, swinging to the driest May on record. So we really could use some of that as that drought has expanded throughout parts of the upper Midwest. But we've stayed plenty wet here, Jordan, in the eastern lakes.
well,